So how does it feel to live in the Weimar Republic? This is what it was like back in the 1930s. And they claimed that that's what led to the rise of the madman. Well, the madman wasn't so mad. They lied about him. They lie about everything. The madman cleaned up Berlin. He gave women their homes. He gave their husbands work, meaningful work. He monetized labor so that a man could earn endlessly. And as long as labor is monetized, a man is well motivated to work hard. He gave those women their families, basically. They loved him. They were misrepresented to us. The truth was never told. The story was really never told. They lied about that. They took over America and tried to kill all of the German people. They wanted to eradicate them from the face of the earth. Do you think it's any different right now? They want to eradicate Americans from the face of the earth, and they're well set up to do it. How can we turn the tables? How can we change this tide? How can we turn them on them? We turn it quite simply by turning to Yahweh. We turn it quite simply by reading our Bibles, by abiding by the blessing, the code of blessings. You want to be blessed? Then live according to the law of life, is what Ezra called it, the law of life. And most of us call it the Ten Commandments. But David said he meditated on the law day and night. Why? Because it gave him life. He lived by it as best he could, and he screwed up. Okay? But he really lived pretty honorably. He had so many chances to kill Saul, it wasn't funny. And he refused to do it because it was God's anointed. Even when his men wanted to kill Saul, he wouldn't do it. So what do you need to do? You need to stop participating in their systems. You need to realize that they've enslaved us all. You need to stop using the medical system as best you can and get yourself out of it. You'll be much healthier. You need to stop using their damn attorneys because they enslave us all. They rip us off all the time. They're liars and thieves. And they've been given license to do that, like the doctors have been given license to kill. And then the people in the mental health profession, my profession, they've all gone woke, and they're doing more destruction than anybody else. They're doing the best they can to screw people up, to gaslight people. I know there's a problem with the food system. It ain't good food. So just ignore it. When I walk into a grocery store, I see mostly poison on the shelf. And I walk past the stuff at the entrance, and I avoid the stuff at the exit because it's all poisons. It's all traps. You eat yourself to death, to disease, to dishealth. The foods are engineered so that they don't give you life. They take your life away. They rob you of your life. And their water is poison too. This is the land of bitter waters. It's in the Bible. Look up land of bitter waters. That's America today. My Lord, was it different when we got here. But after 200 years with those evil sons of a bitches, it's bitter waters. It is bitter. And they're going to make it as hard as they can. So, I suggest you pull out of the system as best you can. If we stop supporting them and stop going along and consenting to what they're doing to us, we'll be a lot better off. Churches. Stop going to the big box churches. There ain't no life there. It's more like drugs. You go there and you feel good. I guess Karl Marx had it right. Religion is the opiate of the masses. Well, yeah, they used religion on the masses. Remember, in the book of Revelations, there are 3 demons, like toads, like frogs, that came out of the 3 evil ones' mouths. And those were government, tell you how to think. Those were religion, tell you how to think. And those were education, tell you how to think. Actually, they tell you what to think. They don't tell you how to think. They do their best so you cannot think. And I know you think it's your own idea and you're making up your own mind, but you aren't. You're listening to their television. You're listening to all that news and all the propaganda. And they control the language. They dictate the meanings of the language and the terms, and they repeat it to you all the time. My God, that horrible music, would they repeat that horrible stuff? And those you stupid ass people sing that devil songs to yourself. I mean, about this and that, and you're worshiping that stuff. You're ingraining that stuff in. You're programming yourself up with evil. So what do you expect to have in your lives? Blessings? My God, this young lady I was hanging out with, wow. The songs that she was singing and the words, I didn't know what those words were. And I listened to them, and it was all hideous stuff. And it was not artistic. It was mesmerizing. It was spellbinding. She was programming herself up for evil. And that's what you got. Don't program yourself up for evil. Garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. That's what you're doing to yourself. You're putting in garbage, and we're going to get garbage out of you. And if you don't change your vibe, you're going to get not nuked. Well, you could get nuked. That's right. But Apollyon could blast off again and just wipe everything out. And I'm trying to tell you, I believe we're facing another nova of our sun in just a little while. But if we can change our vibration, if we can repent of shedding, especially from shedding innocent blood, and that does mean the people around the world that we bomb the hell out of, those poor people in Gaza, which are pretty doggone innocent. And I mean, I know they probably pick up stones, but by God, they've had it by now. The way they've been treated is inhumane. The way they've been terrorized by the Israelis. It's the only country that America allows to shoot her own troops and get away with it. Yeah. That's what was going on a while back. We saw all those wonderful videos through the scopes. Sons of a bitches were shooting our boys. And we didn't catch them. We didn't call them out on it. Like they shot up the USS Liberty. We know it was them. We were in on the big plan. Like they shot up the Kennedys. Both of them. And killed all these men and women in the country. You know, in the Bible it says they're responsible for all these people. This group of people has killed all the people since between A and Z, basically, between such and such and the doggone altar. It's in the Old Testament. Read it, it's there. Yeah. There's the same people doing the killing today, the same descendants. The same bad blood is continuing. And of course, we are such magnanimous people, we get rid of the death penalty. So they go willy-nilly. They're just going to kill because there's no motivation to stop them. And right now, you got people like that Mr. Bragg in New York City who lets the real criminals go and goes after the politicians. That's high treason. That's high treason. Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't care much for the Republicans. I mean, their philosophy was better in some ways, but they destroyed the Republic. Lincoln and his radical Republicans destroyed the Republic. So what is it you want? What kind of life do you want? Is this heaven on earth right now? Oh, no, no, no. It's going to be a long, drawn, knockdown, drag-out fight. And what, you think, poof, and it's supposed to all magically appear or disappear, or everything will be changed? The twinkling of an eye. Whose eye? In a twinkling of an eye. A year to the Lord is 12,068 years. I mean, a day to the Lord is 12,068 years. Wow. So how long does it take for that twinkle of the eye? Is it really fast, or does it take a long time? Yeah, we might be transformed. We might be reduced to ashes and leaving these bodies behind, and just that electromagnetic field might survive. Actually, in a nuclear blast, those things might get destroyed too. I don't really know. But I do know this, that there will be a judgment on those souls that have done this to us, and they will be taken apart. Oh, yeah. The hatred that's being bred is just off the charts. That secondary news that you think you understand on the internet about this stuff and that stuff, man, they had some videos showing that was all fabricated. That's right. Nothing that we know is really true. You can't be sure. Don't let it get you down. Don't let it get your goat. You have to take care of your ground. You have to hold your ground. You have to hold on to your values and your faith and protect the area you're in. Protect yourself. That's all you're going to be able to do. They visited so much confusion upon mankind, and they've done it to paralyze us so they can take us out bit by bit. I wouldn't be surprised if there was already some fighting going on in parts of this country, and of course we wouldn't hear about it because they control the news everywhere. They control all of the airways. Remember, he's the prince of the air, Lucifer, Satan, whatever, the great accuser. They are doing all kinds of stuff against us. Whatever it is they're involved in is weaponized. It's weaponized. It's being weaponized. It's going to be used against us. They do the weather manipulation. And it's not just HAARP, and it's not just the cloud seeding. It's the Doppler radar, too. My friend says she had the evidence. There was a hurricane, and they guided the hurricane around. There have been tornadoes, and they can direct the tornadoes where they want them to go. Oh, yeah, an act of God, all right. Who's God? Which God? Molech? Baal? We are in dire straits here in the nation. I'm losing some subscribers. I see I'm down to 500. Well, I think I peaked at about 505, 504, 506, something like that. And I know that people come and go all the time. And that's fine. I guess what I better do is make more succinct, short videos and more to the point and do short subjects. This longer stuff and just going off the top of my head is, I don't think it's going over very well. I think it's dissipating things. So I don't even know why I was so motivated to get to the camera to do all this right now. I just feel a sense of urgency. And I'd like to actually feel a sense of calm. And the problem is I'm probably adding to the fear. And I don't want to do that. Yahweh's in control of this thing. We do have to lay back a little bit, but we should not be paralyzed, and we shouldn't be afraid to act. But I have to admit, I'm afraid to act. There are things that I'd like to do sometimes. I think, my God, that's horrible. There are people that deserve to be struck back. But it's like, okay, if I do that, is that not denying Creator God, Father of the universe, His rule, His way? Should I not just back off and do the best I can by others and hope that it takes effect? We have to stop trying to save the evil ones. We have to stop trying to rescue the sociopaths. They cannot be rescued. They don't want to be rescued, and they don't need rescuing. It's just a show put on so they can predate upon us. They can only connect. Yes, we're connected, all right. They can only connect with the rest of us to predate upon us. They can't love another. They have nothing going for them. Oh, yeah, they probably could hang out with other members of their clan, and they're probably sociopaths as well, at least sociopathic. But it's a closed system. So you do have families of sociopaths, and you do have sociopathic cultures. The biggest example of a sociopathic culture is the Khazarian culture. That's pretty easy to point out. But we've got more sociopathy today than ever before. And most of that stuff, most of those men and women are at the corporate level, the upper echelons of the corporations, and also in politics. That's where they're drawn to. Oh, man. Lindsey Graham comes to mind as I'm talking. That's one jackass that should be tried for treason, for running interference. He shouldn't be allowed to leave the borders of this country because he goes and riles up other people. Like Janet Yellen, she should not be allowed to leave this country. Actually, she should be in prison or she should be totally excommunicated out of the country. She goes around and she's the one that's undermining the dollar right now as the world's reserve currency by weaponizing it. She's the one going out there threatening the other nations. If you don't do what we want, we're going to take your dollars away. That woman is a problem, just like the one that caused that trouble over in the Ukraine. She's a problem as well. What do they have in common? Oh, well, they're not Irish. What do they have in common? Yeah, these people that are running us into the ground have something in common. And they ain't Irish, as my buddy says. But you got to understand, it's going to be hard to separate the good figs from the bad figs. But as long as we're not willing to do that and consecrate them, the worse it's going to get. So how bad do you want it to get? If you read the book of Ezekiel, you'll realize it can get a lot worse. But it's at some point, there's no return. And in this time, they're going to snuff out the Israelite populations, the descendants of the Israelites across the planet. They've been focusing on us for a while. And for the most part, they're going after the descendants of Joseph. Joseph boys, Ephraim and Manasseh. English speakers, the English, Canadians, New Zealanders, Australians. Not so much South Africans, but they are of us as well. Yes, there's some English speakers down there, but there's other things down there too that are our brothers. You need to understand these people are really evil, and they will set you up, and they will take advantage of you. They will play you one against the other. They will divide you and conquer you. They will divide you and manipulate you. They will set your ass in action, or they will set the police in action against you. They will set others against you. They're good trap layers. They're wicked in their thoughts. Nothing they think of is good. and they lay traps for everybody they come into, and they lay traps at several levels with several levels of contingency, like the most complex game of chess you've never seen. It's actually much more complex than the chess game. The evil that they plan and they think of all the time. They're really good at it. They've majored in it. And by the time they hit their 30s, they're masters of it. And some of them are masters of it at an earlier age. But they usually start in their teens, when they're teenagers. Sociopaths are not human beings. They are incorrigible. You cannot save them. They cannot be corrected. They can't be changed for the better. There is no hope for the sociopathic. I've tried to come up with it over the years. Believe me, if anybody could pull it off, Dr. Kent could pull it off. Dr. Kent's the only guy stupid enough to try. When inmates who committed murder had PTSD due to their own murders, I was naive enough to want to treat them. And thankfully, the colleague who was the big researcher, she stopped and she turned around and says, well, I'm not desensitizing anyone to commit to murder. Yeah, I was pretty naive. Yeah, my pathology is to be a rescuer. I became a professional rescuer. That was my role in my family, was a rescuer, because my parents were children and they weren't getting along too good, so I had to rescue them. I paid a dear price on it. Most of the problems were generated by Mom. And Dad was flat out overwhelmed and, as a result, negligent. Between the two of them, it was not a nice family. Nice people? Oh, yeah. Nice family for my brother, because they left his ass alone. Not for me. This stuff goes on all the time. How do we stop the abuse? I don't know. As long as there's families, there's going to be these sorts of dynamics, and it's going to get out of hand at times. I suppose we could say we could educate the people, but there's no better education than open the Bible up and read it. There's no better way to go than by the grace of Creator Father Yahweh God. May the grace of Creator God, Father, Creator of the universe, Yahweh, may that grace go before you, and may that grace hold you, and may that grace comfort you.